Hello everyone, we are looking at static stretching today. We're going to specifically look at your lower body work. So we're just going to do one stretch each for your hamstrings, your hip flexors and your quads, and one for the glute minor as well. Sorry, so 4 stretches today. We're doing static stretching, so this is kind of maintaining and light development of flexibility. Not something I tend to do in a warm-up, so this will be after a session. And I'm not going to hold each stretch for the required amount of time because it takes forever. You can't just do static stretching with a 10-second hold of your quads. That's going to do absolutely nothing for you. If you're trying to develop or maintain flexibility, you need good 1.5 to 2 minutes on a stretch to relax into the position and get used to it. So I won't do each stretch for the full length of time. It'll take forever. First off, hamstrings. There's obviously loads of ways you can do your hamstrings. You can do ones that go with gravity to assist your movement. So you've got your standard 1 foot behind you, 1 foot straight out to the front, locking that knee backwards, keeping your chest up and just slumping and letting gravity do its work. Trying to get my chest or my stomach down to my thigh. So this front leg is completely locked out. Back knee will stay bent. I'm bringing my hands down towards my heel. I'm keeping my chest lifted, so I've got a nice flat back position, not just slumping forwards through there. So I'm still bending at the hip, and that with my leg locked out is putting all tension onto the back of my hamstring there. Now if I was doing this stretch and I was trying to progress through it, again, I need to hold this for a good 2 minutes or so. And I'm not trying to force anything. I'm not trying to push myself down as far as I can. I'm not trying to rip my hamstring off. I'm trying to relax as much as possible and just let gravity slowly pull me down with the movement. I need to do that on both sides. It is better, really, if we're trying to develop flexibility, to do single leg work. You will always be more flexible unilaterally with one side working on its own than you can with 2 legs working together. Obviously, when you get to a certain development point, you can start implementing double leg things as well. You wouldn't start somebody off with flexibility work by trying to do the box split. You're going to get nowhere. It's better to work each leg separately, and then once you get to a certain point, you can start doing that. We can also do our hamstrings in seated position. Obviously, downside now is that I don't get gravity to help me out because I'm going to have to push myself into the stretch. What we're going to do, but it does mean I can use my hands to start moving into position a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is start with both feet out to the front. I'm going to grab my right foot and I'm going to pull it behind me as far as it can go. Whether that is a V shape between your knees or whether that is an L shape between your knees. Pull it as far back as it can go. Basically, depends on your flexibility and your skeleton pretty much. Left hand is going to be on the floor behind me. This is going to be my pushing arms. This is what's going to help me generate my flexibility here. I'm keeping my toes pulled back towards me because it means it's easier for me to grab them. And all I'm going to do again, I'm just going to relax. So if I can grab your toes, cool. If you can't grab your toes, you could grab the fabric of your pants, or you could wrap a little rope or a band or a belt around your foot to pull on that. Instead, you want an anchor point of some description though. So I want something that's going to hold me in this position from here. Now all I'm going to do, again, I'm not rounding my back over. I'm not trying to just get my nose to my thigh. I'm trying to get my whole chest and upper body down. So I'm keeping my chest up, using this backhand on the floor for balance and support, keeping me in position. I'm just going to breathe deep. Again, relaxing is key to static stretching. So breathe in and breathe out, and just softening your way down. Don't try and rush it. Again, not trying to rip your leg off. Just slowly getting comfortable in the position. And you might be able to see I'm not bouncing, but I am just slowly, gently rocking forwards and back ever so slightly. Like I said, I don't want to bounce. Bouncing into stretches is for tiny little gymnasts who have a lot of elastin in their joints, in their connective tissues. As a full-grown adult, unless you've been brought up with gymnastics or dance or something, you won't be able to bounce into a stretch with good results. You'll probably just tear something. But I can gently just rock forwards and backwards. Again, not trying to force my way down, just gradually just pushing on a little bit, relaxing off a little bit, pushing on a little bit, relaxing off a little bit. And I'm just going to use that constant action for a good 2 minutes of one leg. Obviously, once I've done one leg, I want to stand up and loosen off whatever I've just been stretching, and I have to swap legs and work again from there. Depending on how much you want to work, you can do both sides twice or use a different stretch for the second time. Next off, we're just going to look at your hip flexor. Again, classic one that a lot of people need to stretch. People who work at desks or drive for a living, they typically need to stretch off their hip flexors quite a lot. I'll show you left side foot. All I'm going to do is get into a basic lunge position. So back knee and flattened toes on the floor, get my front knee forward. All I'm going to do is aim to stretch my left hip flexor here, so on this back leg. All I'm going to do is keep my chest up. I'm going to lean back a little bit and I'm going to try and push my bum forwards towards that front foot. So I'm just going to push my bum forwards, keep my chest up. I'm not getting into this position, so I'm not coming forwards over my thigh. Now I'm just stretching my hamstring again. I need to lean my chest back and push my bum forward, get my hips forwards. That is stretching out my hip flexors from there. Again, relax into position, same as always. Holding it for a good 2 minutes and just gently softening and pushing. Small amounts, only moving millimeters at a time, but that is what you're going to need to get that stretch on. If you need to make this harder, bring your hands up to allow you to open up at the chest a little bit more and lean back into that position. If you want to get our quads involved, there's a million different quad stretches you can do, ranging from the standing quad stretch to the lying down knee bend. The problem is all these ones are pretty awkward and they're also just isolating the knee on its own. The best stretch really, if we can get into the position itself, if you've got the hip mobility for it, is the wall stretch. So it looks very similar to the hip flexor stretch we just did, but now with the foot bent up behind me, toes against the wall, getting that knee as close to the wall as you can get. You'll want to start off relatively low. This is going to be a pretty horrific stretch. I can just gently push up away from the thigh. I'm just trying to get my shoulders back towards the wall. Now, because of bending at the knee and at the hip, I'm going to be stretching off hip flexors and the quads together. So this is a very effective stretch. Again, same as before, I'm trying to push my bum towards that front foot. That movement there, that is really putting on the stretch there. Again, don't rush it. Good 2 minutes. Try and relax into this position. Breathe deep. If you want to push the stretch on a little bit more for any stretch you're doing, breathe out and push onto that stretch a touch harder. 2 minutes-ish on each leg. Once you've done any stretch, again, loosen off, mobilize that muscle you've just been stretching out. Otherwise, you'll be walking home later, gradually sinking to the floor because you can't use your legs properly anymore. Last one, just for your glute minor, is going to do your piriformis. So I'm going to stick my foot across the floor. I'm trying to get my shin and my foot on the ground. Hands on the floor, these are going to support me. I can use this hand to keep my foot still if I like. I'm basically going to get my weight backwards into this position. So this is causing a big stretch down the outside of my glute. All I'll do to make this, so there's no stretch on here at the moment, all I'll do to put that stretch on is my back foot. I'm just going to caterpillar walk it backwards, a touch at a time. That is putting the stretch down here. Again, you'll want both hands on the floor. That is putting on the stretch to glute minor there. And again, same as everything, take your time. Spend a good amount of time putting on that stretch to make sure it's effective enough. Don't just do a 10-second hold at the end of a workout. That's going to do nothing for you whatsoever. So those are just a couple of low body stretches we can do. Next, we'll do our rotation and we'll do our core. Thanks for watching. See you next time.